Ooh, 47 minutes. Wow. I did a good job of cleaning up here. I'm going to keep this clean, but 47 minutes, that's a good long while that I could talk if I wanted to. Anyway, so stupid little videos cost me about $10. I could probably perfect them. Obviously, you can see little defects in them, like when the talking pineapple was calls me son instead of saying just so. And in the second dream, when I'm talking about the dream being unpleasant, it's splashing calamari everywhere. I didn't want it to do that. And then it starts talking about salt, and that's another thing. It's first it says salt, and then it says sun. Somehow it got the so wrong. I don't know if it made any mistakes in the first one. I think the first and the last ones are pretty error free. I wanted at some point for the pineapple to start floating, and the pineapple wasn't even in the first video. I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna. Why is my nose? It's probably allergies. Anyways, I'm not doing it over because it's like I just finally realized I've been doing pretty good. I've been saving money, not buying anything expensive. You would not believe the amount of money that. Well, first of all, I've saved money. Booze. I've saved probably 1,000. I've saved it since. Okay, since Ozzy Osbourne died. It's been July 22nd, and I started putting a fund together of all the money hypothetically I would have spent on booze. And there's $700 in that wallet. So I figure, okay, well, how much was I spending on booze every month? It must have been like $100. So there's gonna probably be $1,000 in the. Well, it's only 700 because I did buy some other stupid things. But since I cut out the red meat, I had to because it's too expensive. I've probably saved last month instead of being broke. I had like $300 in the account. I'll probably end up being reckless again, but saving a lot of money cutting out alcohol and red meat because the red meat, first of all, it weighs you down. I think the boneless chicken's probably easier on an old man system, but with that thing going on in the Strait of Hormuz or wherever it is, I'm sure it's Joe Biden's fault that gasoline is now $8 a gallon. And I mean, they're always going to find some reason to blame the other side. You know what I mean? It's like they're still blaming Joe Biden for inflation. Not that he was the greatest president, but I had my problems with him. But I mean, I shouldn't make this political. But when people go after Joe Biden, it's like, yeah, well, yeah, tell me something I don't know. I'm not a Democrat anymore, thanks to that whole debacle. That party. I mean, the Democratic Party's messed up. It's like corrupt. It's left wing. Is like, I don't mind Bernie Sanders' economic policies, but I'll tell you what I do mind, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but the whole. I got nothing against gay people, obviously. I got nothing against gay marriage or any of that. It's none of my business, right? Abortion. I'm not for any of these things. You understand? I'm not for them, but I'm not against them. It shouldn't even be a political issue. Say there's a God that doesn't like abortion, and maybe he frowns on. Well, the Bible says that he frowns on illicit sex, and that includes sex outside of marriage. So there are probably plenty of people that show up in church think they're going to go to heaven just because they're straight that have been messing around with their wives or their stepdaughters. Oh, let's just avoid it. But that's a trailer park turns. There are just so many hypocrites. You know what I mean? In all religions. I mean, the problem is that no one is righteous. No, not one. Alexa, which Bible verse says no one is righteous? No, not one. All have sinned. All have fallen short of the glory of God. What is that? Luke or Matthew?
That verse is from Romans 3:10, not Luke or Matthew.
I'm hardly a biblical scholar, but thank you. Well, see, Alexa knows the Bible pretty well. She doesn't make a lot of biblical. Do you know, Alexa? Can you quote Gnostic text also? Because I'd like you at some point to be able to. Alexa. Oh, for example, Alexa, play Audible.
Resuming Gnostic philosophy from Audible.
Worldly constraint. That is to say, the Gnostic was above all that, but he had also become, in a profound sense, self determined.
Alexa, stop. See, anyways, I've been listening to about yeah, the converting to the one sort of Christianity that could probably still get me burned at the stake. The original Christians were Gnostics, and the Catholic Church established a hierarchy. And first of all, they just didn't like competition. But second of all, they found Gnosticism so freaky and alien and such a weird that they declared them heretics and had them all burned at the stake. So I figure if I have to become a Christian, I have to be the kind that would be burned at the stake as a heretic. I just have to be different. But I'm mostly 90% Buddhist, you know. I'm probably 90% agnostic. I'm like the laziest. I tell people I'm not an atheist. I never really was an atheist. Never really an atheist. More of a lazy agnostic, which I still am. I'm still one of those people that like science, man. And science is great, but it just left me feeling kind of empty. You know, just like an old soul stuck in a room all by himself in the dark. That's not exactly joyous. Not that religion brings me joy, but I think Buddhism and just the pursuit of something greater, that there's something cosmic, just the pursuit of that, to try to in some sort of academic philosophical way pursue what is true. And the only conclusion I came to is the same conclusion I always came to. Who the hell knows? It's anybody's best guess. You know what I mean? Who knows? Like in Christianity, there's a big debate now between what they call dispensational Christians. They're the ones that believe that the Jews are God's chosen people. They have to go back to Israel and kill everyone around there so that God can come back and kill them. Now, I am personally not saying that this is what I want to see happen. Far from it, just the opposite. I think it's like probably like a self-fulfilling it's just how sick that religions are supposed to preach universal love and get everybody to love each other. But in the end, all they do is figure out some way that people should kill each other. And they demonize and dehumanize other people so that, you know, you're like the two terms I hear bannered around now are not even white supremacy, but you know, racial supremacy of the Nazis. The Nazis thought that Germans were a master race, right? And then in Zionism, I keep hearing this term Jewish supremacists. That Zionism is that Jews are God's chosen people, and they can do just about anything. They can take other people's lands. They can shoot other people's kids. They can make someone's grandmother have sex with a German Shepherd. That's just gross. I mean, it's just gross. Some of the stuff I'm listening to, and my simple response is, I'm sorry, but it's a wealth. It's like I'll kind of say the same thing about my own people. They come from what I know. I've been doing research. They came from Norway, Germany, the Netherlands, France, and I think Spain. I mean, a lot of people will be surprised to hear this, but how that came in, it was during the 30 Years' War. So I've been doing some family research since I'm one that has absolutely nothing responsible to do. So our family, the Zens, on my mom's side, were vintners in Germany in 1630. This is where the confusion came in 1634 was during the height of the 30 Years' War. Now listen very carefully, because this explains everything in the 23andMe and why French doesn't really show up, but Spanish does. In 1634, they more than likely fled, the Zen's family. The Zen's is like Vixiboxy is an art. The Zen's family was big name in wine, ice wine. I guess it still is in Rhineland-Palatinate, in the Mosel in Germany. Now, AI helped me look through this. What probably happened was, during the 30 Years' War, our ancestors fled with their grapes and their knowledge of wine stuff, like the French needed help making wine. But that's where we ended up, I guess, in Alsace, which is a German-speaking region of France. and that's how we ended up there. So that's the story. And the Dutch were first in Norway, and then they wandered down into Switzerland, and eventually made it into Rotterdam. And I guess there were some Dutch, and they intermingled with the Dutch people that had been there forever, just like they must have intermingled with the French when they made it to France. Who the hell knows how these things work? I don't know. This is lore. It could be wrong. You never know. Is 23andMe wrong? I don't even want to talk about that. But it's like things that first it said that I was English, and then that disappeared, and then it said Ashkenazi Jew, and then all of a sudden, no, that's not there anymore. But it still keeps coming back Southern Mediterranean. And what they explained was there was a Spanish road that went up through Germany during the 30 Years' War when the Catholics and the Protestants were busy slaughtering each other, and 1/3 of the population of Germany died in famine and disease. And I guess my family said, you know what, 1 out of 3 people, that's not good odds. Let's go someplace a little less dangerous. So I guess that was first Alsace, and then finally they said, you know what, the hell with this. Let's just find someplace safe, like Ohio. And they came here, and they made their own city called Zen City. It's not there anymore. I think it's like Fort McPherson or something. But if you Google Zen City, it was in the western part of Ohio, in an area where a lot of Catholic Germans settled, or Catholic Alsatians. I don't know, like Lorain, Ohio, but Zen City is where they just went out there in the middle of the woods and cut down some trees and made their own city, because no one was going to give you. That was public housing back then. You cut down trees and you made your own little hovel. That's how we end up here. But I think I'm not a Trump supporter, but what I think I hear from America First is the Europeans got to learn to take care of themselves. And I think they've come to realize that they got too dependent on us. They can't trust us anymore, threatening to invade Denmark and playing nicey nice with Putin instead of Slavinsky or whatever. And we never should have pushed NATO up there. Long story short, the Europeans probably, no matter what happens, they really should um, pay more into their own defense. I don't even know if there's a future for NATO, but if we do start cutting back on aid to NATO, maybe we could spend it on Americans. I don't know. The other thing is Israel, and I shouldn't talk about it because you always get accused of anti-Semitism. But this, I'm just going to God's truth. This is what I'm going to tell you. I think on October 7th, I remember being very angry and hearing about it and think, what a horrible thing. And that lasted about 15 minutes, because then the Israeli troops started coming into these Palestinian cities, and you see people getting shot, and these horrible stories about rape and mistreatment. Just horrible stories. I don't even want to repeat them. And then they say, oh, well, they didn't happen. Yeah, like the Holocaust didn't happen, right? I'm saying, when people start denying, we've been here before. Who do you believe? But where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? And then you start thinking, October 7th, think about it. Israel, whether you like them or not, they have a first rate, the Mossad is first rate. It is. Everybody says, oh, they don't say the Mossad sucks. They're a bunch of lazy dumbasses that never do that. They're on top of things. They know, and they're very ruthless also. And then you got the IDF, which fought the 1948, the Six-Day War, the Yom Kippur War. They say it's falling apart now, but it's a pretty professional army. And all of a sudden, they dropped the ball like that. It took them 3 hours to arrive there, and when they did, this is the thing that gets me, and I'm pretty sure this is true. You can't convince me that it's not. All those dead babies and burnt things. I don't know about the rapes, but I heard they were made up too. I heard that. Who knows? Allegedly that a lot of that stuff was made up. But here's the part. John Mearsheimer, I believe, and this is what John Mearsheimer said about October 7th. 2/3 of the deaths on the Israeli side were the Israeli army dropping missiles on their own people to prevent them from being taken hostage. Which is pretty awful. I mean, obviously, if Hamas would have behaved itself and not initiated this, none of it would happen. But they knew it was coming. They had, for weeks, they'd been getting Egyptian intelligence reports that Hamas was up to something, and they completely ignored it, which sounds fishy right there. And then they took 3 hours to arrive there, and there were just a bunch of girls guarding the outposts. And it's like, they're good Israeli soldiers. Again, not to praise them for what they do, but even their women are pretty good with the guns and everything. But that's what they said. They'd only stationed teenage girls to guard the border. Now, nothing against, because some of the best snipers the Soviet Union have were women, not girls. I'm not talking about women. These were just teenage girls, giggling and showing off their nail polish and everything like that. They're not probably the best people to have guarding the border, because they spend a lot of time listening to music and talking about boys. Women, maybe that would have been a better choice. But these were teenage girls that they left at the border. Doesn't that sound a little bit fishy? Oh boy, I'm going to be in so much trouble. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I think we've been bamboozled here. It sounds to me that they set this whole thing up so they'll have an excuse to clear out Gaza. And the whole thing, it's just like one thing after another. Kill, kill, kill. And they're bombing. I'm not Roman Catholic, but writing Jesus as a monkey on the side of a Catholic church, taking a mallet and smashing in Jesus's face. There were little statues of the Virgin Mary, and they started to hump them and things like that. This is not something that civilized people do. And it also isn't something that your allies do when they know that you're a Christian. Can we say a Christian? We're a secular nation, but the vast majority of people, we're one of the few countries in the Western world that is more religious than unreligious. So why the hell are we still giving Israel this military aid? They don't do what they say. I mean, even Trump was screaming at them. That was what got me. Trump is screaming at Bibi Netanyahu, "Are you fucking insane?" I'm thinking, here it is. This man's an ogre. He's like one of the most evil people in the world, and he's calling Bibi Netanyahu insane. We are being led around like a little poodle, and it's wrong for a great nation, the greatest nation in the world, to be at the beck and call of this tiny little nation. Why is it? I keep hearing this AIPAC thing. I don't know. Maybe AIPAC should register as a foreign agent. Everybody else does. How come they don't? I mean, if we're going to do America first, fine. But we're not. We're doing Israel first. We've got no reason to be at war with Iran. So they've got the bomb. Pakistan has the bomb. India has the bomb. Israel has the bomb. A lot of countries. China has the bomb, for God's sakes. China has lots of bombs. Russia has more bombs than we do. So why are we worried about Iran, really? And I see this guy Pollard, the trader that sold secrets to Israel, and then fled there after he was supposed to be in jail for life, because what he did was treason. So Pollard's on TV. I saw it. This wasn't AI. This was real. He's on TV going, well, they're going to end aid to Israel. And he's got this little demonic smile on his face, and he goes, we can use tactical nukes. And he says, well, if we start doing that, we're not getting aid from the United States anymore, which is this convoluted logic was we can always depend on the United States to give us aid. And basically what we're saying is because we blackmail them. During the Yom Kippur War, when we weren't doing very well and the shipments weren't coming very fast because they were like, you know what, we're getting tired of this. Can't you figure out some way to be peaceful? Why are you so dependent on, why we're paying for all this death and destruction, and then you're saying, hurry up. And Jackson Pollock, this Pollard guy goes, Jonathan Pollard, I think his name is, he's all dressed up, pretending he's religious when he isn't. He goes, what we did was we parked some fighter jets out on a tarmac, on a flight deck, on an airfield where the American spy planes could see us. And it was obvious that these spy planes were loaded with nuclear missiles. And all of a sudden we got what we wanted. That's blackmail. And this is coming straight from this guy's mouth. And he's a traitor. Why is he even on TV? Why is he running for for their Knesset or whatever. This man committed treason, and Trump let him go. Our country is being run by traitors. It really, I mean, I hate to sound right wing, but it's like the far left and the far right are kind of in agreement on this. The people that are running this country now have betrayed it and sold it out. Sold it out to Boris Yeltsin. What's his name? Not Boris Yeltsin. Oh, I'm getting senile. Yuri Andropov. No, not Yuri Andropov. Um, Gorbachev? No, wait. See, I really am. I'm losing it. Um, oh, I know who it is. It's that little monk. That's a little monkey in charge now. Vladimir Putin. God, I had a brain fart there for a second. I think maybe I am getting a little funny. So don't worry about me. I'm just getting senile. It's not Yeltsin. It's not. It's Zelensky's in charge of the Ukraine. And Andropov has been dead for like 50 years. He was like one of these the last of the old guard before Gorbachev. I wonder where his name came from. So it's but he was in the KGB, the guy running things now. And Yeltsin, Boris Yeltsin, boy, what a drunk he is. I can just see his drunken face. I don't know if there was someone else besides Yeltsin, but now it's Vladimir Putin. Oh my God. Wonder what's wrong. I think I'm getting old or tired or something. Maybe it's blood sugar. I don't know. 21 minutes. So, anyways, first he's being friends with an authoritarian nation there. Then he's saying how much he loves the leader of North Korea. Alexa, what's the name of the North Korean leader? Kim Il Sung?
Kim Il Sung was the first leader of North Korea.
What's the name of the guy in charge now?
Kim Jong-un is the current leader of North Korea, serving since 2011.
And who was before Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-il was the leader before Kim Jong-un, ruling from 1994 to 2011.
Oh, they're all Kims. All right. Okay. All right. And then what's the name of the dude that's in charge of China? The one that looks kind of like a teddy bear, like Winnie the Pooh? Z or Zai or something? Xi Jinping?
The current leader of China is Xi Jinping. He's often compared to Winnie the Pooh due to his appearance.
Yeah, he is a cute little dude. How tall is Xi Jinping or Xi Jinping or whatever his freaking name is?
Xi Jinping is 5 feet 11 inches tall.
Oh, he's pretty tall for a Chinaman. Okay, all right. Well, he still looks like a bear. Anyways, he's friends with all these totalitarian leaders. He says he's against them, but he admires them because they have absolute power. And then Bibi Netanyahu finally has the sense to say, "Are you fucking crazy?" But I mean, he got talked into this Iran thing. Reagan, they tried to talk Reagan into it. Bush, both Bushes, they tried to talk it. Clinton, they tried to talk into it. Obama, they tried to. That's why they hated Obama. Obama says, "There's no way we're going into Iran." They tried to talk us into sending our American boys over to do their dirty work when it's nothing to do with us. So I don't know. I think we tell that NATO, look, you got a couple years, but you're going to have to learn to take care of yourself. And the Israelis, it's like, you know what? Good luck to you. We're not going to do anything against you, but your people got free health care, they got free education, they get free housing, free everything, and then we buy all your weapons for you. You know what? Israel, you're a very prosperous, high-tech country. You've done very well for yourself. I think you can pay for your own guns, really, and make your own too, or buy them from the French. I mean, ironically enough, this is what people don't know. Before we got involved over there, the French were the pals with the Israelis because of the Suez. It's complicated, and I've been talking long enough. But they got all their weapons from the French at discount, I might add. And they also got nuclear secrets from the French. I don't know if they gave them the bomb, but they helped them build the Demora reactor. And now they're screaming that the French are anti-Semitic. Basically, de Gaulle said, you know what? I can make more money selling to the Arabs. You're on your own. And it was like all of a sudden the French are... But there would be no Israel. This is the thing. Because A lot of my ancestral blood is French. And this I'm just going to say, and you cannot deny it if you're honest. There would be no Israel but for two things. One is obviously the aid that America has given it, but also before we started, we didn't we supported it. We supported it with like words, but initially we didn't really give it a lot. We gave it food and medicine. We weren't giving them a lot of military aid. We didn't think that would do. I mean, Eisenhower's idea was this is not going to create a lot of friendship in the Middle East with the Arabs. The Arabs are going to be really angry. And then what happened was the Soviets moved in and started giving all the Arab countries military aid. So we needed Israel as a countervailing force. So all of a sudden, Israel became really important. But before that, before we gave a shit about Israel and started helping him, there was one reason and one reason only that Israel got any help from anybody, and it wasn't out of the French are not altruists. It's like they didn't help America out of the kindness of their own heart. They wanted revenge. They wanted revenge against the English. The reason they helped the Israelis was they were pissed at the Arabs for like all the land for Suez, and because of Algeria, they were losing things left and right. I mean, I'm not saying the French were right to do this, but in typical French fashion, the French wanted to be vindictive. So an enemy of their enemy was their friend, and their friend, because their frenemy was Israel. They gave him the Mirage. The only reason that the Israelis won the 6 Day War, and again, you can't argue this if you're honest, they won the 6 Day War for one reason only. They had the Mirage 3. They made preemptive strikes against the Egyptians and the Jordanians. The Jordanians had British Tornadoes, and the Egyptians had Soviet MiGs. And what did the poor little Israelis had? All they had was the French Mystère and the Mirage. And if they didn't, they'd have no Air Force because we weren't giving them anything. Those were French planes, and those French planes were far superior to anything the British had given the Jordanians and far superior to anything the Soviets had given the Egyptians. So you're welcome. But you know what? It's like if you've got a kid that's misbehaving, they say they do their homework, they say they keep their room clean, they say that they wouldn't kick the dog or pull their sister's hair, and they start doing really rotten things, like smoking pot in their room and leaving Playboys everywhere. You know what? First of all, no more allowance, and second of all, go find someplace else to live. Good luck to you. It's been fun. It's been nice. But I think, maybe there would be peace in the region if there wasn't this discrepancy in power. And maybe the Iranians wouldn't feel the need to even have a nuclear weapon if they weren't staring down the barrel of nuclear weapons in Israel. I would like to see there be peace. I don't want to see anybody kill anybody. But I think this country is being used terribly. And I don't even think this is good for, I know it's not good for Jewish people, but I don't even think it's good for the Israelis. Eventually, there's going to be a reckoning. You can't, it's like the Nazis. It's like the Germans. Do you think that invading Poland and the Soviet Union was eventually good for Germany? I mean, initially it was. They got all kinds of oil and material and slave labor. I mean, the analogy is just complete. But eventually there was a reckoning, and the Soviet Red Army came down, and we came invading, and there was a reckoning for Germany. And Nazi Germany disappeared off the face of the earth, and the old Germany was gone forever. So if I were going to go back in time and give the German people some advice, I'd say, you know what? That whole Nazi thing, that whole Hitler thing, don't do it. And the people in Israel, the whole Greater Israel thing that you're on now, I mean, maybe this is it. And who am I to say anything? But maybe if you went back to your pre-67 borders, or maybe a little area around Tel Aviv, you could have like a little city state. But I'm just saying, not even taking sides, I don't think it's looking good. And part of the problem is the extreme cruelty you've inflicted on innocent people. And Hamas isn't innocent, and neither is Hezbollah. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the collateral damage. and it's not right to say that all people in Gaza are in Hamas any more than it was to say that everybody in the Warsaw, all the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto, were somehow rodents or communists and deserve to die. Karma's a bitch, and I think it's time. I think it's time. I mean, I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I had to get that out. And this stupid war we're in, this stupid war. I mean, I don't even buy gasoline, but I mean, there's so many things I can't afford. Groceries, food. The biggest problem in Asia right now is it's not the oil, and that's a real big problem. It's fertilizer. They use that oil to make some kind of fertilizer. There's going to be hunger in the East, in the Orient, or the Asia, or whatever. Probably get in trouble for saying that, but there's gonna be real hunger there. Real hunger. Yeah, yeah. I'm more with the Pope than I am with Pete Hegseth and his reading from Pulp Fiction. I will smite down with righteous anger. Blessed be the peacemaker. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to side with the Pope. Everybody should stop killing everybody else, but this has got to stop. This is just crazy and stupid, and it's not even in the interest of the United States of America.